Definitely 2023 was one of my most challenging years because I was hit with another cancer that was so much more life-threatening and life-changing than my first one. And now I am on camera and I have to start chemotherapy and I'm going to lose my hair. And what do I do? And how do I prepare for the unknown when I have a business, not to mention a new relationship in a different country away from all my family and friends?
By your need to connect yourself back, to find your roots and to feel connected, you have connected so many other people.
He is the one that is blocking hundreds, and I'm saying hundreds of hate messages a day.
Something switched, like something happened to your business since that.
That Hebrew is impossible, Hebrew is so different, Hebrew is difficult, Hebrew is difficult. So I was like, okay, maybe I could try to reverse engineer knowing how I switched from Hebrew to English. Maybe I can engineer how to switch from English to Hebrew.
We've known each other for many years, I think over 20 years. We've met while we were working together in high-tech Israeli company, and we connected straight away. It was love at first sight. And since then, both of us have made a very long way, both in Israel and outside. And you've become a great inspiration for me and for many other people around the world. And when I look at you, I'm really a great wonder comes up, and to see what you've been through and what you've made from your life and what you have created and the path you're walking in such a determination, dedication, you know, a very inspirational and meaningful way. And seeing you from where we started together and until we've come today, I really want to ask you, how did you do that? Did you have that kind of dream to touch and influence so many people? And did you have this kind of dream to really express yourself through the Israeli experience, through Hebrew? Have you ever imagined, you know, um, becoming and reaching this wonderful place that you're at now?
Well, before I answer, I wanna just say that it was love at first sight, and we are very good friends, and I am very, very happy that we are doing this. And thank you for asking that. And I truly think that it was a very interesting journey because I cannot say that many years back, obviously being a born and raised Israeli, that was my dream. I had other dreams. I wanted to be a psychologist and I wanted to be a writer. And at some point, I wanted to be a performer on stage. And I had all these dreams. Writing and words were always somehow my day job and my hobby, and poetry and writing short stories and doing poetry slam. And I was teaching teachers in Israel. So I dabbed in all these things. But the interesting thing is that life somehow led me, and I believe that everything is meant to be. But randomly, somehow, life has led me to meet Carlos, who is an American, move to the US to build a home with him. And the day I landed in the US, I lost my job. And then I started this quest of this journey of what do I want to do? What best serves me in my 40s with challenges that we can talk about, but I had very acute challenges that limited me, or so I felt. And I also had this life experience in writing and translating and Hebrew and English and teaching and the love of creativity and the love of creating. And my personal preferences of I love poetry because it's very precise. It takes concepts and it's kind of um, brings them in the most accurate way, kind of injects them. So I love that. And I love, again, being creative, creating, teaching, and being so far away now, not only from Israel, from home, but from anyone who speaks Hebrew, because we lived in a place where I was the only Jewish person. There was no Hebrew speaking community. There was no Israeli. So I was really very isolated. And in this journey that took several months, what I knew was that I wanted to create something of my own, which I did in the past. I wanted to be my own boss. Um, I didn't want to compete in the American marketplace, and I didn't even knew I did so many things throughout my life that I didn't have one title. I wasn't an author or just an educator or a copywriter or just like I had all these different hats, but I knew I wanted creativity and doing my own thing and owning my own time and being able to manage what I had to manage already, mostly physically and medically. And it took me months until I was like, oh, wait, I have all this experience in English. Hebrew runs in my veins. Maybe I can try to teach Hebrew to English speakers without doing the same. Maybe, being abroad and meeting all these people, traveling and living abroad, you come across all these people and they always say the same thing. Hebrew is so hard to learn. Hebrew is impossible. Hebrew is so different. Hebrew is difficult. Hebrew is difficult. So I was like, okay, maybe I could try to reverse engineer knowing how I switched from Hebrew to English. Maybe I can engineer how to switch from English to Hebrew. And I just sat down and started putting my thoughts on paper. And the one thing I knew I didn't want to do is open a textbook. I wanted to be a tabula rasa, clean slate, and just take everything that I knew from life, from work, in both languages, and just do it completely clean slate. So I didn't open a textbook. And I had an experience before that living in Lisbon. I moved to Lisbon in my late 30s, and I met a woman who asked me to teach her Hebrew. And because I had experience teaching teachers in Israel creative writing and psychology, which were my subjects, I was like, oh, I have time. I'll teach you Hebrew. Again, I didn't open a textbook then. I just started writing curriculums, and she was very fast and very smart, and she was just picking up on it very fast. She also knew Arabic, which was a huge advantage for her. So I was like, okay, I had that experience of teaching her Hebrew. I already had these curriculums that I started building. Maybe I'll try to do this thing and start with teaching people how to read and write. So it can be in a book, but I will do it a workbook so they can practice. But I'll try to just simplify Hebrew because obviously it's not the easiest language. And that's how it all started. It took me months of just sitting, correcting, fixing, proofreading, correcting, fixing, changing. But it was completely I just put it out there and I said, either the world will like it or they won't. And either way, it's okay. I took one course on how to self-publish because I knew I wanted to self-publish my book. So I was like, I'm going to sell it on Amazon. So I took one course. It was like the company had nothing. There was no budget. It was just me sitting down, creating this thing, designing it myself, and just putting it on Amazon. And my dear husband, who is retired, decided to open an Instagram account for my new business and a Facebook account. And he started reaching out to women who were influencers and had a Jewish following. And we said, okay, maybe we can ask them if they want us to send them a copy of the book. And if they like it, they can show it to their audience. And that thing just blew up. People loved it. They showed it as, look at this new thing that is completely different, and my kids love it. And what happened was that that book became a bestseller almost overnight on Amazon. And I was like, okay, maybe I have something to give the world. And now I can start creating this ecosystem that will be Hebrew by Bible. So okay, I'm gonna expand this into a reading and writing program that would be complete. Then afterwards, I'll do a speaking and understanding program, which will be different because it doesn't make any sense in a book. And I started sketching this ecosystem. Maybe I'll be on YouTube. Maybe I'll do a website. It's just
And everything you've learned alone. You taught yourself, right? Everything.
yes. And I had the it's funny because I can see now going back, I have to tell you that, and I think you know this, for many, many years, I always worked. I worked since I was 16 years old. I always worked and I always climbed the ladder, but I always felt, why don't I have a title? Like I'm not this, what would be my plaque in the door? Like I don't have, because I moved from one thing to the other. And it really bothered me for many years that, my friend is a coach, my friend is a psychologist, my friend is a writer, my friend is an engineer. What am I? Which is why I didn't know what to do when I came to the US. What do I apply for? It was very confusing to me. When Hebrew by Inbal started, I understood that all these skills that I collected, because for one company, I built their website, and for one company, I did their marketing and I did copywriting. So I dabbed in all these skills that now I had a lot to learn because things changed and it was not completely the same, but it wasn't starting from zero because I had all these skills that I accumulated throughout the years. And maybe as important is that I came with this sense of I did all these things in the past. I can do this. Like I learned so much in every job that I started and I did well in all of them. So now I'm going to start something new. And with all the resources that we have out there,
Yeah.
whether it's free resources or courses.
I feel that once you started doing that for your business, there was another layer of such a strong self-discipline that was added to it.
Yes.
There's something very, very connected, something very dedicated, something
Hmm.
that was like an inner engine within you that
Yeah.
started working. And you just always like, whenever I was speaking to you, you said, okay, so now I'm learning this to do this, and now I'm learning how to do this. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? I mean, how do you do that? How do you teach yourself so much and so, so profoundly and really? And
I think it was a combination of a few factors. First of all, I'm a very disciplined person, not in everything, not in diet or food or exercise, but in work, I was always very disciplined, I feel, like my responsibilities. Um, it I think it was a combination of, first of all, again, I lost my job. I had to starting this business, I had to reach a point where it pays the bills because we both paid the bills, obviously. So there is this survival um component to it, but it obviously wasn't the only one. I feel that for many years I had this thing in the back of my head that I really wanted to create something. I really wanted something of my own, something that will be my baby, my creation. And suddenly this thing emerged, and this thing now had life. And I was the one that could either let it die or just water it and feed it and nourish it so that it will grow. And it was very exciting for me. And there was the component that only grew over time of and enhanced over time and became so much more profound, which was that it was Hebrew and it was the connection to Israel because Hebrew is at the heart of everything that is Israeli and then Jewish as well. But it's also very central to Christians as well. But it's definitely at the heart of Israel. And that is what I am.
yeah,
You know,
but I think what is interesting is that once you went out of Israel, then your Israeli identity got stronger. Because I
yes,
don't like when we were living in Israel, our Israeli identity, it was like natural.
yes.
It wasn't that we had to work on or, you know, do with it. And I think once you got out of Israel, something within you like grew around that identity.
I think it's exactly that. I think when you're in Israel, you're an Israeli born and raised. Everything around you is Israeli, and you take it for granted, not in a bad way. It's like almost everyone around you is Jewish, so it's obvious that when Purim comes, you will have Purim parties. Purim is my favorite holiday. There are no Purim parties anymore, right? So it's all these things that you're like, of course, when Purim comes, I'll go to a party, and of course, when Chanukah comes, I'll be invited to 10 candle lightings. I don't even have to have a menorah in my house because I'll light candles with whoever invites me in and I'll go. And then you step out of Israel, especially when your nuclear unit now is not Israeli. So you have the advantage of now having another culture, which I love celebrating, but you're the only Israeli now in this nuclear family. And no one around you is Israeli, and you don't have an Israeli community around you. Now it changes. It changed it for me. And again, Hebrew specifically is it's beyond my comfort zone and my language. I'm a person of words, and not being able to communicate at the level that I can in Hebrew and all the beauty that Hebrew is for me,
Yeah.
being able to be the facilitator of that, it was a lot.
It sounds like by your need to connect yourself back, to find your roots and to feel connected, you have connected so many other people to Israel.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
And
amazing.
that's the gift because it is my business. It is my living, but it's also the gift for me because I get to get up in the morning and play around in Hebrew as my play doh. And it's a gift for me. And I think when it comes from such a place of love, it just shows. I love it when people write me, and they write me all the time. We see how much you love Hebrew. We see how much you love Israel. We see the connection because it's true. I couldn't fake it and I wouldn't fake it. It's just when it's real. And my love of Hebrew is
Definitely.
a big one.
So the first book, the Israel workbook one, the
There's Hebrew one.
Hebrew one, when was it published? How many years ago?
That was the end of 2021. That's when everything started. Yes. Yes. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a complete series out of it. So Hebrew one teaches how to write in print, and then I said, okay, you have to at least be able to identify cursive script because unlike in English, our handwriting, which is in cursive script, you find it on a lot of signs, menus. There's a lot of things that are printed in Israel today in cursive script.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be part of it. So Hebrew 2 teaches cursive script. And then our nikud, our vowel system, is very complicated. And I was very surprised to see that, like a lot of the Hebrew teaching, people just teach it the same way. There's like one way to teach Hebrew, and everyone uses the same way. And people really quit trying to learn the nikud because it is very complicated. And the thing is that you and I, as Israelis, we wouldn't know first for a specific word if we put patach or kamatz. We only know that is either patach or kamatz. We wouldn't know. So I was like, why do they need to know? So let's simplify the Nikud system so that they only know that for it's only patach or kamatz, and they can use the uh, however they want. So I was like, okay, we're gonna simplify the Nikud system. And so Hebrew 1, 2, and 3 were born as a reading and writing program. And then I moved on to create an online course for speaking and understanding because it made more sense. And I wanted to be able to hear people speak Hebrew and give them feedback. So that doesn't happen in a book. And so it was just months and months of, as I was reporting to you, of, okay, I finished this, I moved on to this, but I really had sketched out this ecosystem of, okay, how will people know about me? I have to be on social media and on YouTube, and I want to give as much value as I can. So I'll do these bite-sized lessons that teach them vocabulary because I don't think that the Hebrew program should focus on words. Words are just the tool that you use in order to place it into sentences, right? So in my programs, I will teach you how to read and write, how to construct sentences, and the words I'll just give you for free. So I was like, this is going to be my max value. So you don't have to take a course that teaches you words or take an app that teaches you words. No, words are the add-on that you use in order to practice what I teach you, which is how to build sentences. And when you learn how to read and write, you take the words and you put them in there. So started a YouTube channel, started, and I'm still working on it, learning how to film well, lighting, audio, struggling with that for years. You can see my not even
And
first one.
and
It's just
doing that with only with your husband's help, right? With Carlos,
Yeah,
who says
yeah,
you as a team of this amazing
yeah.
business.
Yes, he is incredible. He's helping me in every way possible. He is the one that is blocking hundreds, and I'm saying hundreds of hate messages a day. Imagine looking at hundreds of hate messages a day. I get hundreds of love messages every day. But thanks to him, he blocks them before I see them. So that is one thing that I think without it, I wouldn't be where I'm at because I wouldn't be able to take it every day. And because the hate grew after October 7, blew up. The love blew up, but the hate blew up as well. If he wouldn't do that every day, on top of other things that he helps me and just his support and encouragement, and you can do this, you're incredible from day one, even before I had anything to show for, I wouldn't be here because I wouldn't be able to take the hate. Although I know it's, some of it is bugs and some of it, it's just too much, my gentle soul.
I know.
So,
And
yeah, it
what?
was,
And speaking about October 7th, something switched, like something happened to your business since that day where our lives changed forever for every Israeli, wherever we are. And for you also, your business has changed
dramatically.
then. Yeah.
Yes. Well, October 7 came as the worst surprise to all of us. We were all just shocked by it. And October 8 and October 9 and everything that the aftermath. For me, um, after October 7, and it took some time. There was the shock of it. And in my personal life, I was going through again, very difficult things. So it came in not that it can come not in a bad time, but it came literally in the worst time for me. So it took time, what I'm about to share. But after a while, well, I'll say it that way. Right after October 7, all I wanted was to share about October 7 because it was so horrific. It was so life changing. I already saw the denial of people of what happened. I already saw the protests of people marching with Hamas against Israel. I was like, what is happening? The world is upside down. All I wanted was to flood my feed that already had hundreds and thousands of people with October 7. And obviously, that wasn't the way to go because people are here to learn Hebrew, people are here to celebrate cultures. Well, we had this earthquake and I didn't know what to do with it. And I am the descendant of Holocaust survivors. I grew up literally on the knees of sitting on the knees of people in my family telling me Holocaust stories. This is something that runs deep in my veins. And I felt like this is happening. Something in that area is happening now. I will not speak. I have a platform. I will not speak. So it started this inner process for me of what do I do now? Because I have this platform. I'm here to teach Hebrew. Hebrew is connected to Israel. This is happening to Israelis and Jewish people in the name of Israel. And what do I do? And it took me some time. And obviously, buses of hate were landing in my account. My husband can testify, and buses of love were coming. And it took me some time to realize that I'm not going to share the hate, but I am going to amp up the our values and what we are really about. So I'm going to I'm going to do hasbara, PR for Israel, obviously only one that is truthful. I know exactly how Israel is. Very complex, not a perfect place, but a million times better than how it's depicted by the worst of the worst. So I am going to show how we really are. So I'm going now to teach words that are in our core values. And I'm going to show everything that is true about us and all the lies that I'm hearing and all uh, the Israel is a colonizer and Israel is a genocidal country. I'm not going to echo these sounds. I'm going to put out there just reality showing you that this is so ridiculously false. So I can do that through the language. And the other thing that happened and I'm very grateful for is that I started sounding my voice more, not politically, but how I feel as an Israeli Jewish woman in the US, luckily in a place that there is no anti-Israel protest, but also that some people don't want to have any contact with me because I'm Israeli. And just this reality. So beyond my personal experiences, living my second language and all these things that really influence how I teach and what I teach and why I do this, now there is the post October 7 reality where anti-Semitism to some extent became the norm, and targeting Jewish people and Israeli people to some extent became the norm, and we were living it. So I'm not living it, thankfully, in all domains. I'm living it in some domains, definitely on social media and online, but also to some extent in real life. So I'm sharing more of the love I get from my neighbors, from people who, know me and are like, meet me in coffee shops and say, "You're from Israel. Wow, it's like we support Israel. We love you guys so much." And also the fact that I can't find an accountant because no one would reach out to me, although I'm a new customer. And I'm like, wow, that's odd. So it's um so I think that it took me time, but I found a better balance of, okay, before October 7, I was teaching Hebrew. After October 7, I have to do Hasbara my way, educating about the real Israel, the real Jewish people, because we are targeting to an extent that is unprecedented and just unparalleled. So it became, and I think for the most part, I do it in a way that I feel is my way, my balance, and balance that my audience appreciates, and
And
highlighting the good news and the good.
yeah, and it's still, from my perspective, it's very brave from you, and it's really amazing. My experience was that after October 7th, I was just like climbing, I was closing. I could not reach out at all. And it's really appreciated, I think, that you've done that. And doing that, also, you were facing in your personal life other challenges that you had.
Yes,
It wasn't the only
yep,
one that happened.
yes. This is one of the things that I was very conflicted about because I do feel that conflicted about sharing, and because I feel like I have a very, it's funny to say, but I do feel that I have an intimate relationship with my audience. Um I have over 300,000 followers. It's a lot of people. But there are the people who always message me and send me emails, and I know their names. And my husband also helps me manage it. So he knows the people. So, and it kind of feels like you have this like minded community of people who share the same values of humanity and respecting others and celebrating cultures and being open minded and wanting personal growth. That's how I see my community. And before I started the Hebrew by Inbal, but definitely after I started it, I was hit with a lot, um, mainly health wise. Um, and I was very conflicted because part of me wanted to share it with my audience, and another part was like, why would I put it on them? They're here to learn Hebrew, and there is this personal connection, but how would it benefit them if I share? Because I don't want pity, and I don't want people to feel sorry for me, and I don't want people to worry something will happen to my teacher. All these, but uh, we talked about having this conversation, and I feel it's time to share that as well because I do have a relationship with my students and with my audience, and the the reason that I met my husband Carlos online was because we both share the same medical issue in general. we both shared the same medical issue, so it was very miraculous. But before I moved to the US, I already had thyroid cancer, and that kind of derailed me because my specific thyroid surgery on paper went well, but I never went back to how it was. And so I started living with chronic pain and specifically chronic headaches that until this day, no one knows how to, why they are and how to treat them. So that became part of my story in life and part of our life. And a few months before October 7th, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so when October 7th happened, I was at the highest, at the height, but at the lowest point of my cancer treatments. And and it was and it was very challenging because uh well, first of all, before my thyroid cancer, I was a person who felt very free, and freedom is very, very important for me. I traveled the world. I moved to Lisbon. I Pills was not something I had in my um, and suddenly it was this add-on journey of trying to find healing, trying to find how to feel better, feel yourself again. And then I got hit with one other thing, and another thing, and another thing, and another thing, and it kind of spiraled. And the thing about the business in this sense in Hebrew by Embody is that it was my happy place and my savior in these things, and also something that you carry on your shoulders, and it's all on you. So now you have this thing that you are nourishing, and you want to make this a beautiful garden from the seed that was planted and is growing so nicely. But now you have to take care of it all the time. So there's no downtime. And definitely 2023 was one of my most challenging years because I was hit with another cancer that was so much more life threatening and life changing than my first one. And now I'm on camera and I have to start chemotherapy and I'm going to lose my hair. And what do I do? And how do I prepare for the unknown when I have a business, not to mention a new relationship in a different country away from all my family and friends, completely isolated in that sense? How do I prepare for that? And still maintaining my business and what do I do with content and all these things. And then October 7th happened. So at the end, I managed and I came out the other side. And I didn't come out the other side the same, but in some ways. But it's also, I don't think it's a cliche to say that the only permanent thing in life is change. So whether it's growing old or having things done medically that change you, we are constantly just changing. So that's the way I changed. Um, and I feel that at the end of the day, I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound cliche, but I really feel it's true that it does make you stronger. Even if it on paper really makes you weaker, it makes you stronger at the same time because you can just look back and say, "Wow, I really went through all that." And, the business didn't even flinch, didn't even like, I don't think people noticed. I hope they didn't. Um, and it did change some of my uh, priorities, and there's a lot of emphasis on health. And some of my audience know that we moved to the Charleston area that provides a lot of what I need and what we need. And it was a very important process for both of us of being choosing a house together that really provides what we need as far as our environment. and also having a bigger Jewish community and a bigger city. I'm an urban person and a lot of facilities that are very helpful, but it's definitely has been a very interesting lesson or lessons. Um, yes.
It's even though I know you and I know the story and all what's going on, it's still hearing that again emphasizes how strong you are and you were and still and how powerful. I mean, you are so amazingly powerful. You have such an inner strength to hold this together, everything, and to move despite of everything. You keep moving. You're doing what you've took on yourself, and October 7th has brought another layer to that. And with that, you moved and even got stronger. Like your voice got stronger from that.
Thanks.
In the midst of everything that you go through, and your ability to do that despite is so, so inspirational for me. And I'm sure for so many other people that will hear your story and know that.
Thank you.
And
I really feel that, that again, that thing of basically Hebrew Bind battle, it demanded me as much as it gave me. Because for me, there is something about everything that had to do with illness was death. And I'm being dramatic, but I'm not. Because for me, it's like in the drawer of death. It stops you, it limits you. There's no movement there. You're very theoretically passive. There's something very death about it. People buying body is all about life because it's creating and it's movement and it's freedom and it's people and it's connections. And it's like, so it fed me. This thing that I felt like was, why are you like, it's taking from me and it's taking and taking. That thing was giving a lot. So I had to feed it and nurture it and take care of it and see how am I going to do content without hair, which you can already hear that bothered me a lot.
yeah.
but but it also gave me so much because I had this thing that, like my family and like my friends and like my husband and like my dog, was life. Because it's life, love, whatever you call it, the universe, God, it's create. It doesn't matter. It's this force that no matter what you call it, for me, it's life. So in October 7th was death. So I was struck. I was hit by death all the time. I felt death. I saw death. There was always constantly this thing of death. And it's not mine to share, but my husband was hit with very serious things as well. But but then we had life. So I was just clinging on to anything that was life. And I thought many times, if I didn't have that, and if I had a day job in whatever, I don't know how, it would be a job, right? It wouldn't be this force of life that I clinged on to, like people you love and like your pet and like just, for my dad, it's painting, right? No matter what, he has painting. That's his, force of life. And Hebrew by Bot was that thing for me. And I could, and I, it fed me life much more than I had to feed it. That's how I felt. Because, when I couldn't do anything, I didn't do anything. Like when I was in surgeries and I was exhausted and I was sick but then whenever I had time, I would open my computer and open my phone, and there's another person who has my book in their house, and they're sending me pictures of their kids writing Hebrew, and like we talked about it. You cannot describe. It's very hard to describe the feeling you have when you create something. It's a cup. It's a spreadsheet. It's something I don't know. You create something, you put it out in the world, and someone took it, brought it into their life, into their day, into their house, gave it to their family. It's like, so I had that. And I felt that that was life. That was And after October 7th, which was another death, and there is so much, and hate is part of death. For me, it was constantly this thing. Now, hate was so much hate and death that I was like, okay, I now want to create more proactively in my stage platform life. So it's talking about, you know, all the things that are we are such a people who celebrate life. Each soul is an entire universe. We don't leave anyone behind. We go and risk lives to get the dead. It's all about life. So I was fed by it so much, and I felt that the more I amped up talking about life, the more I was getting back. So it was the cycle that really felt was not me as an isolated, I'm strong. It was finding what to tap into, and that thing gave me so much.
Right.
It was incredible because it was just it was finding it through the experience because it's not something you think about theoretically. You just go, you do something, and you're like, wow, this feels that way.
Yeah.
Was like that.
And
And
the echo was strong and still really
mm,
strong about it. And
yeah.
no, it's like you move through your whatever you've dealt with and the world together, and you have leveled up your expression, your self-expression, and your voice. And
Hmm.
it grew, and people, and you got from that, people got from you, and you got from that. And that is just amazingly, really inspirational for me. And the,
That is one of the things, the evolutions of what I do that I enjoy most. Like I really enjoy creating the curriculums and the products because that's the essence. But at some point when I started using my Shabbat Shalom as my message for that week and just getting the response that I get because, it's I feel that there is such a need for me as well. We are more alike than we think, all of us. And there is this isolating thing that the more we are isolating, the more we think, oh, it's only me. Maybe I'm not okay. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not normal. Maybe it's just me. But it's usually not. We're usually just all the same. So I was like, okay, why do I start with my Shabbat Shalom? Just talking about this is how I am. Are you like that as well? And then I'm hit with, are you in my mind? Are you watching me? Are you listening to me? And that gives us such a sense of, okay, I'm not alone. And it's truth. It's just how it is because most of us are in our heads and we're anxious. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? We have all these. So it's one of the things I love most, just sharing my vulnerabilities, which is not the easiest thing for me to do, as you know me very well. Very get Virgos, Virgos that are very, very critical. And by sharing my vulnerability and me being very human and flawed and imperfectly perfect as all of us are, it's such a connector. And it's all about connection. Hebrew is connection.
and
You know,
it's amazing for me to see how many people are interested in the Israeli culture. And I didn't know that it was such, something that.
I didn't know it either. I think that one of my biggest surprises was when I saw that there are so many Christians because when I started this, my narrow thinking was like, okay, Hebrew, Jewish, it's going to be Jewish people. And then all these Christian people started coming and said, I want to read the Old Testament in Hebrew and I want to understand this. And we in church, they taught us these Hebrew words. Are they correct? And I was like, wow, that is incredible because it makes so much sense. We are so connected. And I was like, okay, I'm not talking to only Jewish people at all. We're now talking to everyone, which goes hand in hand in the idea of celebrating cultures. It's not about this is mine, this is yours, this is stolen. Cultures immigrated and moved and shift, and that is what creates beauty. It's the mixture of everything. So I love it. And I feel that one of the things that happened big time after October 7 is that a lot of people said, now is the time for me to understand this culture. Now is the time for me to support these people. Now is the time for me. I'm not going to learn Italian, which is great. And I love Italian. I'm going to learn Hebrew because there's something happening with these people, with this culture, that they're like the canary in the mine. This is like our alarm that these people are again being targeted globally. It says something not about them. It says something about what's happening to
Yes.
us as a species. Um, and a lot of people after October 7 wrote me, I am decided to learn Hebrew because I want to understand, because I want to connect. And there are people who want to learn Hebrew because of the mystical part of it, the Kabbalah, the Gematria, all that. Beyond people who know Israelis, are connected to Israel, work with Israelis, are Jewish, are Christian. There are people who are like, I want to understand Star Trek. Why Star Trek? Like Hebrew is everywhere. It's incredible.
Yes.
So I
Wow.
was inspired
Very
by it.
interesting what you just said about after what happened afterwards. And
Uh-huh.
again, for me as your friend, it's such a really wonder to see how the place you took within it, the role you perform in this global shifting of whatever is going on right now, and how really definitely from your your personality who was really introvert like mine, like we're big introvert, but
Yes,
like you're so you're very profound and dedicated, but you're basically a very introvert person.
yes.
And that's for me such a big wow within you, that I see you every day for years showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's even whatever is happening, you keep showing up
Mhm.
and you cross your boundaries and your walls, and you shatter them one by one, and that's amazing. I think
Thank you.
it's
I really do feel, I really do feel that, um, you can kind of see your history, your personal history, and I could see that how everything is lining up for me to do this. Not because I'm very special, not because I believe it's something that goes through me. I always believe that with anything that you art that you create or anything that you're the vessel that goes through you. And I feel that it shows me. So I really feel that first of all, finally I have this thing that has my name on it. It has my name on it. It's me. It's something that I created. But at the same time, I feel it's bigger than me. And I don't feel that it was created only in my head. I feel that it's something in this force that is universe, God, whatever you call it, that goes through me. So I give it a lot of respect. I treat it with a lot of responsibility. And it gives me a lot. It just gives me a lot. And it's very different from anything else that I did before that. And, I've had many, many years of doing things. And the introvert part is very interesting because I'm a very weird hybrid of introvert and extrovert. Very weird because I love being on stage in Tel Aviv doing poetry slam and story slam, but I'm very introvert. And I go to, I basically moved to Lisbon all by myself and I had to meet friends. Otherwise, I would be alone 24/7. So I would go to meetups on my own and be there and, connect, but then I would go home. So it was like, I'm this weird hybrid of,
yeah. Luckily the definition of introvert and extrovert these days is being updated, and there is this mix,
mhm,
like this or that. But again, yeah, for showing up on social media and really pushing everything, it's really impressive. It still impresses me a lot and makes me
thank you.
really inspired by you. And it sounds like whatever is happening to you, even the bad things, or especially, it just gives you another boost.
Yes. It
That's
does.
how it sounds like, and that is the greatness within it. Like whatever is
Mhm.
happening, you top it up.
Yeah. I feel that at some point, the this thing that I don't know how to call it because it's like a business, but I see it as so much more than a business. But this thing called Hebrew by Inbal, it has a life of its own. So yeah, I need to, make sure that everything is working well and everything is. But at some point, it's like it's this living thing that you have to take care of. It's like you wouldn't neglect your dog or your child or your it's this living thing that is just out there. And I feel that it's a living thing. Like, if I created this, that would be something that I created. But the it's a living thing in the sense that people people interact with it all the time. So you have all these things out there, my programs, my courses, my books, my content, my videos, and you constantly have around the world people interacting with it. That's a living thing. That's why I mean it's not a sofa that, that's great, but this is something that people constantly interact with, which makes me feel like it's a living, breathing thing that you constantly wake up to and see what happened and all the interactions that people had with it. So they send me a speaking practice and someone sent me an email and I got a message from that one and the comments from the and once it's a living thing and let alone that it's your baby, you just have to take care of it. That's just how I see it. That's why it's very clear to me that, you just you take care of it
Hmm.
because it's just I don't know, it's almost like it's part of you and you put it out there um like an extension of you and you send all these extensions of you and now they're doing things. So you can't leave it there and say, "Hey, I'm going to the beach for a week." So I don't know. I think that's how I see it. It's just I'm trying to describe how clear it is to me, how obvious it is to me because of that,
Amazing.
and how grateful I am for it. Because again, it's just serving people, as you know very well, because you serve people in your job, which is much more than a job to you. I know very well. It's a real gift to be able to do that and feel that in some way you change someone's life to some extent to the better. That's that's a gift.
Because I thank you for allowing me to be a part of this story and about part of your going out with this to the world and really having the opportunity to serve this out for you and for your audience and being again sharing your amazingly inspirational life and personality that you have and being this kind of inspiration for other women or other people that may take benefit from your really brave and strong and really inspirational story. So thank you for
Well, thank you because I didn't know how to come out with that part with my cancer story and you being my very, very good friend and truly a life coach and so talented. I feel you really allowed me to do that. So thank you.